What I'm saying is qualifying is at its best when you make it as even as possible for everybody. So you don't want to go in there and make it to where, you know, the little 14-year-old kids that don't have a job that they have to go to in the middle of the day, they don't have to do anything, they can just get on there and ride 10 million thousand laps on it, and somebody that does have a job is not going to have the time to go in there and do that. They're just not. I hate the free qualifying, run as many laps as you want to. I absolutely hate that. Thought it was a terrible decision to put that back in there, and what the having the erode in qualifying does is it makes it to where you may go in there and run a qualifying session of, let's just say it's like 10 laps long, right? That's what most of them are anyways. I think I still have my erode too high here, but whatever. We'll try to make it through. So, like, you go in there and you run 10 laps, and I would say about one of those laps is going to give you the possibility of running your fast lap. Like, you're going to have one lap on there that is actually where the track is developed enough and it's at its what you call best to run your fastest lap. So if you want, and that's if you don't crash on that one lap, you know, that you get one opportunity in that 10 lap qualifying time period to run your fastest lap. And that makes it to where the people that only have, you know, 2 hours to qualify for a race because they go to work all day and they don't have all day to just sit there and qualify, it makes it to where they hop on there last second and they get on in there trying to learn the track, and they get basically 1 or 2 laps to actually run a fast lap, right? Because if they go in there and run 2 sessions, they'll be running like 20 laps on it, but they really only get like 2 laps to actually run a fast lap because the track is only good for that long. I mean, it honestly is. When you talk about fast laps in qualifying, there is a very small window of time where the laps are actually, the track is actually developed perfectly enough and the ruts are big enough but not too big. You know, the roughness is not too much, but you actually have something to get into in the corners as far as ruts goes. You know, it's a very short window there. I'm telling you, it's like 1 or 2 laps per qualifying session where you can even run your quote-unquote hot lap on. So you're basically wasting all of that other time that you're having to spend on there, and it just, I don't know. I mean, I still think the best way to go in there and do it is an hour before the pro race. You go in there and you run your qualifying. If you got to run 2 servers or 3 servers or whatever, then you can do that, but you just want to go in there and make it to where it's even for everybody. You know, you don't want to make it to where you're giving a massive advantage to people that have more time to qualify. That doesn't make any sense because that's not skill. You know what I'm saying? Just because you have more time to qualify is not a skill-based thing at all. It's you put more time in on it, so obviously you're going to be faster, right? I don't care how good you are at the game. If somebody else has ran 1,000 laps on a track more than you, they're probably going to be better than you, and that's just the way it is. It's, you know, it's one of those things. It's like, man, I don't like that kind of qualifying at all. I really don't. I think it's terrible. Now, obviously, going to run into some problems there with the erode and trying to have 40 people on that and then trying to run qualifying. That's like, who the hell is going to be able to run a lap on that? But at the same time, I feel like that is more of an even playing field than having this thing where it's like, okay, this guy happens to be able to get on there and qualify when there's, I don't know, 20 other people on there, so the ruts are being made a whole lot better, which you can actually go a lot faster on the track when the ruts are being made more, whereas this other guy, let's just say he's only able to get on there and qualify last second because he had to work all day. Well, he's getting on there, and there's probably only like 5 people in the qualifying server, and the ruts are not going to be made nowhere near like they were for that other guy that was on there, so he's not going to be able to go anywhere near as fast on the track, right? That's what I'm talking about, how it just totally jacks up that even playing field, because the more that you're able to go in there and qualify, the more likely of a chance you're going to be able to get in there with more people on that qualifying server, therefore getting bigger ruts, therefore being able to go a hell of a lot faster in the corners. It makes a massive difference on these tracks. It really does. So, you know, having the erode free qualifying like that, it just makes it so uneven to everybody. And I just feel like I'm wasting a shitload of time doing it, you know? Like, I get in there, like I'm saying, and I run 10 laps, and one of those laps, the ruts are actually how they're supposed to be to run a hot lap. You know, 1 out of 10. So you'll go in there, and you'll have to spend I mean, 20, 30 minutes to just be able to run 1 or 2 actual hot laps. And that's if you don't crash on that hot lap. You know, it just creates this system of you feel like you're just wasting so much freaking time on it. And like I said, I don't even really know what the best option is for it, because you can't, you know, if you're going to have erode in the racing, it's hard to go in there and not have erode in qualifying, especially on a motocross track. I know you can get away with it more on the supercross track like they did in the supercross racing this year, but I still feel like the best option is you got to have everybody in there in servers at 1 hour before the race actually starts. I still feel like that's the best way to go about doing it, honestly. It's just so much more even like that, man. You don't have to sit there and waste all that time trying to qualify, and your qualifying laps aren't on this insanity high level that are never going to be reached in the actual pro race. You know, when they have that free qualifying, it makes it to where you got these insanity lap times, and then it creates this weird, like, expectation that you've got to run that, but in reality, that dude that ran that spent 3,000 laps on the track just being able to run that lap once. So it's just creates this really unrealistic, lap time that people run, and, they don't run that during the actual race and stuff. And so, yeah, EMF, I'm not a big fan of the qualifying with erode on and the free qualifying. I don't like that at all. I guess the reason why they did that, they had the time qualifying in Supercross, which was great, but I guess the reason why they're going back to the free qualifying is because of the erode in qualifying, right? They're trying to make it like this so that they don't have, like, when we all jump in there 1 hour before the race, if it was timed, it would be like 40 people in each server, and the ruts would be insane. But, I mean, even still, I feel like that would be more of an even playing field than the way it is now, where it's just you randomly get on there and hope that there's enough people on that server to make the amount of ruts that it has to make to be able to run a hot lap. It's like this complete guessing game, complete hoping game that you've caught it in time where the majority of people are on there. And I don't know, man, it creates a very weird experience, very weird feeling, very frustrating feeling, right? It's hard enough to run a hot lap as it is, but when you create a system of you only really get 1 lap to do it out of 10 laps of trying, all those other laps, the ruts are not big enough. And then, like, maybe the last lap or two, you start building so much roughness on the track that you can't really go a whole lot faster. It kind of starts backfiring on you, kind of starts slowing you down. But if you're on a server with a lot of people, you build that rut so much quicker. So you're able to go in there and try to do it so much quicker. I don't know. To me, it just seems way out of whack balance-wise in that sense. And I don't really know the best solution. Like I said, I mean, you're going to run into problems either way when you have erode qualifying on there. But I still feel like doing time qualifying 1 hour before the race is the best option. Like, yeah, you're going to have some dudes that, they crash on that 1 lap that they were going to try to do, and then you got 40 people in the server, so it's kind of going a little bit crazy there. But at the same time, it's more of the man's able to actually prove himself in a short amount of time. There's so much, to me, that is way more of a proving ground than, a free qualifying where it's like this guy looks like some badass with his crazy qualifying lap, but the fact of the matter is he's just sat there and analyzed every single inch of the track for, 48 hours straight, and it's just like there's not a whole lot of impressiveness to that, in my opinion. Not a whole lot of skill to that, in my opinion. The skill is when you can go in there, everybody's on an even playing field, nobody's seen the track, and you go on there 1 hour before qualifying and you run the fastest lap. That tells me that you are a true qualifier. You're able to go in there without really knowing a track and figure out a track really quickly. You actually have to be able to learn tracks super fast like you do in real life. But when it's free qualifying, there's none of that. It's just a matter of whoever spent the most time on it. I mean, that's it. And I just don't have the time to do that or the want to do that. It's like, who gives a shit? But it just... it's just, I don't know, just seems frustrating to me. It seems more of a frustrating hassle than a fun thing to have in qualifying with the free qualifying and the erode in qualifying. I don't know. I mean, to me, it just makes it very, very frustrating when you go in there and you spend 100 laps worth of time to get 10 opportunities to actually run a fast lap, and every other time you're basically just going around the track wasting your time because the ruts aren't built enough. It just, I don't know, man, just so bizarre to me that it's like that, and very, very frustrating in that sense. But either way, man, I mean, you know, some of you guys may disagree with that, but that's the way I believe. You know, if they're gonna have the road qualifying, make it timed, make it to where we're all more even here, man. Don't give such an advantage to those kids that can just sit there all day long, man. Like, all of us can't do that. I would say there's quite a few of us that can't do that. You don't have time to go in there. Like, most of us, we go in there and we're able to try to run a qualifying lap the night before the pro race, and we don't have time to go in there the night of the pro race because we get off work right before the pro race starts. So we're not going to have time to run any more qualifying the actual night of the pro race. The only time we have to do that is the night before the pro race. So we hop on there for a couple hours right before we go to bed to have to get up to go to work the next day, and we're getting on there and we're like trying to run our qualifying laps within 2 hours, and then you got fucking Joe Blow Johnny over here that's running 10,000 laps because he never has to go do anything, and it's just like such a bizarre type of competitive thing that they got going here. Very, very uneven in that sense, but either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.